Hi everyone, welcome back to Discover and Learn. Today we are going to talk about a countryside or a village. Yes, so in this series what I'm trying to do is I'm going to take up places wherein I've just spoken about beaches, how you can describe a day at the beach, and today I've taken a countryside or a village, right? We all have our roots in villages, and we all do visit our villages, our ancestral homes. And we talk about it. We tell others about what we have seen in our village, what we have seen in our countryside, and how good it is, how bad it is, etc., etc. Right? We do talk about it, and everyone has their own stories related to their childhood. So that is why I thought of taking up this topic and speaking on it. The first part will be vocabulary related to the countryside or village and how we can talk about it. The second part is the sentences. I'm going to come up with those vocabulary or words so that it's easier for you to start speaking or using that word in your own sentences to describe your experience or your stay or your hometown or your countryside. And the last part will be I'm going to talk about my experience at a countryside which I have visited recently. Okay. So guys, on that note, welcome back to my channel. I am your communications coach and a soft skill trainer by profession, and I'm here to help you out with all your communications problems and to help you speak English fluently and confidently. But if you haven't subscribed my channel yet, quickly subscribe my channel, like and share my videos, do write your comments in the comment section, and do not forget to press the notification icon so that you get all my videos on time, free of cost, and access to all the amazing content on this channel. What you have to do is stay tuned, stay connected, and watch my entire video to master this skill. So guys, I've started this series of coming up with vocabulary, then sentences related to the vocabulary, and then speaking about on that topic, right? These are the three parts I have started doing, which is actually going to help you in your English speaking practice without taking any efforts, without studying, without any partner, alone at home, etc., etc. Every problem will be solved. And this is a three-step method which I have come up with. Try using this method, start speaking. I have a lot of videos on this method. Start using this method, start speaking on these topics every day. Take up one topic and start speaking on it for 30 days continuously, and you will see a lot of difference in your speech, in your fluency, in your confidence in speaking in English. If you start practicing in this way, you'll be able to start talking to people anywhere, anytime, with anyone, on any topic. Trust me on this. It's so powerful. Let's begin now. So talking about countryside, what is a countryside? Countryside is basically village, okay, away from the city, a place which is away from the city, which is very calm, quiet, right, and very different also. So that is a countryside. In India we call it villages. Okay, now when we go to a village, what we see, the first thing we see is a lot of green fields. So what are these fields? It is an area of open land which is covered with grass, often used for animals or growing plants like vegetables and grains. That is called a field. So when we start reaching a village, or when we are on the way to the village, anywhere, when you go to a hill station, you go to mountains, you go to, any lake or dam also in the outskirts of the city, or when you go towards the airport also, that is also a land which is very barren, or it has a lot of green fields, like a lot of grains or vegetables are grown or cattle are grazing. So there are lots of land area covered with grasses you will find. So when you start reaching a village, you'll start seeing all these things. Fields, that is the first vocabulary. You might come across forest also, right, which is a large area of land covered with trees and plants. So in between you'll find a lot of forest areas as well, which is covered with trees and plants. So you'll find forests also in villages. My village has a lot of green fields. My village has a lot of green fields. Okay, while traveling to the countryside, we see a lot of forest land. We see a lot of forest land while traveling to the countryside. Okay, we often see a lake or a pond also in villages, right? What is a lake? A lake is a body of fresh water surrounded by land. So it is in between. So there's a small lake in between. It is a water body which is surrounded by land. So you find a lot of lakes also in the countryside. I've seen a lot of villagers taking bath in lakes. I've seen a lot of villagers taking bath in lakes. Okay, a pond is a small body of water, still water, which is found in your garden. So it is basically man-made. You can create a pond. You can dig up the ground and you can fill in water there. That is called a pond. So, a lot of fishes also lives in ponds. People cultivate fishes in ponds. Okay, so in villages, there are lots of fish cultivation in ponds. In villages, there are lots of fish cultivation in ponds. Nature, we see a lot of natural things in villages. The nature is at its best in countryside or villages. What is nature? Everything which is not made, everything outside which is not made by humans or people, like trees, mountains, rivers, animals, etc. Okay, so it has all the elements. It has trees, mountains, rivers, animals, everything together is called nature. Okay, natural surroundings. Okay, I like to spend a lot of time in nature at my village. When I visit my village, I spend a lot of time in nature. When I visit my village, I spend a lot of time in nature. Okay, cottage or a mud house. There are a lot of small houses which we usually call cottages. Okay, so a cottage is a small house in a village or a countryside. Okay, so small houses are called basically cottages. We see a lot of cottage in the village. We see a lot of cottage in the village. Another word is farm or a farmhouse. Okay, farmhouse is a house on a farm where farmers usually live. Okay, so farm is basically, an area where they do farming. They grow crops, vegetables, fruits, etc., etc. So that is a farm. Or they keep animals. That is also a farm. Okay, so that area, and then they have a house in that area and they stay there taking care of their farm, the area around them where they grow vegetables, fruits, grains, etc., etc., along with the cattle. So that is called a farmhouse or a farm. Okay, it's very exciting to stay in a farmhouse. It's very exciting to stay in a farmhouse. Okay, fence. Now, when there's a farm or any field where they grow vegetables, fruits, or there's cattle there, so they have to fence that area. Okay, so what is that fence? So fence is something which is built around an area or a piece of land to keep animals and humans either inside or out. So if there is a farmhouse, if the cattle are grazing inside, of course we want to keep the cattle and humans inside, and if there are any crops are growing, we want to keep the animals outside. So that is what fence is required for. We usually see fences in a garden. So when you go to a garden, you see a lot of fences right around the rose beds or other flowers are growing, so they keep the fences there to beautify that area or to keep it away from humans and animals. Okay, path. When you go to a village, there are lots of narrow roads, right? Path or alley, which we call, is a narrow track that is used for walking. I walked along the path to reach the farm. So guys, these are some words or vocabularies which are very specific to countryside or village. We do visit village and we describe it in this way, right? So if you know all these vocabularies, it will be much easier for us to talk to people in English on this topic. And it will sound more interesting, more entertaining, and more engaging also with proper vocabulary. So if you start learning or practicing English speaking in this way with vocabulary related to the topic and making sentences out of it and then speaking on it, it is the best way to start speaking in English at the earliest. Okay, now coming to the last part is I'm going to speak about my experience at a countryside or a village. I recently had an opportunity to visit my village. I was very excited to visit the place. It was a family trip and we decided to have a picnic there. The road to our village was not very good, but still half the way it was through the city. But once we entered the village, the roads were very narrow. It was a narrow path. We can see large forest on both sides of the road. The air was very fresh. We can even see some hills or mountains while we approached the village. When we entered our village, we saw a lot of green fields, small cottages, a lot of farmlands as well. We saw a lot of children playing outside and taking bath in lakes or ponds. We reached there, we stayed in the farmhouse. It was a beautiful experience. We had fresh food there. The vegetables and fruits were so fresh. It was just plucked from the farm and it was cooked. The taste was amazing. There was no pollution in the village and we experienced nature at its best in the villages. Fresh water, clean air, fresh vegetables, fruits, dairy products are some of the things which we miss in cities and towns. So spending time in a village or staying there for a day or two is an experience in itself. So guys, this is how I described my experience of visiting a countryside or a village. You can also talk about your ancestral home or anytime you have visited a village and you can talk about it. Your experience, your thoughts, whatever you think about it, you can just speak about it on this topic. If you start speaking in this way, it will be much easier for you to start speaking or having a conversation with people anywhere, anytime, on any topic. In English, for sure. So guys, that's it for today. I'll see you in my next session. Until then, keep learning, keep speaking, keep watching and keep exploring. See you. Bye-bye and take care.